Hello there, my name is George Argoda and I am the founder and CEO of Argoda Marketing. Today I'm going to be talking to you about ChatGPT ads for lawyers. So ChatGPT came out with ads about 2 weeks ago from today. Today was the 27th and it came out, I think it was the 5th or the 4th, if I'm not mistaken, of this month. And so I'm going to be teaching you how to create your first campaign, what to look for, what to budget for, and kind of give you an idea of maybe some things that you can apply to your everyday marketing. So first, I want to talk about ChatGPT and why it potentially has useful applications. And I guess the best comparison for this wouldn't be Google AdWords directly, because one, it's not on it's on a search, it's not on an internal platform, right? So this is obviously the first of its kind and it's very interesting and exciting, but for comparison, I guess Reddit would probably be a good comparison to this because, as you know, ChatGPT and all these tools pull from Reddit, and I've used Reddit ads before in the past. And the analogy of relation I'm trying to make is that it's an internal system, right? And people are looking for information. And obviously too, it has the commercial applications and things, right? Depending on how you want to look at it, but primarily most of it is informational. So with that being said, my experiences on Reddit weren't that great. We had a lot of clicks, a lot of impressions, but never any actual cases that we signed from there. I'm not expecting ChatGPT to be the same. I'm expecting ChatGPT to be better, and the reason why is because you can catch them further down the funnel, right? So if they're comparing keywords if they're comparing other attorneys, other law firms, and like trying to find out what the best solution is for them, and ChatGPT delivers that response and you show up, well, that's probably a very high indicator of conversion because they spent so much time prompting and trying to figure out, so there's a psychology behind it, and I forgot the name of it right now, but there's a psychology behind it where when people ask questions and are actively engaged and they receive a response, they tend to, it tends to work better. But don't quote me on that. I remember reading that somewhere. But anyways, so let's begin working on the campaign. I have here all the things that I need, my copy and some of the stuff. So let's get into it. So let's create a campaign. And so for this purpose, we're going to be doing it for one of my clients, Percy. We're going to call this, he's in the personal injury space, mass tort space, personal injury specifically, and then medical malpractice. So let me do this real quick. Just call this medical malpractice. And then, okay, so objectives here, we have reach and clicks. Obviously, I haven't tested any of this stuff. It's up for testing, but I would imagine clicks being the better option here. I guess, reach usually is for brands and stuff that want to be shown as much as possible everywhere. It depends on your goals, right? So for the sake of this, we'll click clicks because we want bottom of funnel conversions. Here we'll set a daily budget of 400. Now for the budgeting very quickly, we're just testing, and obviously with Percy I have the trust and stuff that I've built throughout the years with him, so he doesn't particularly care where I spend the money in as long as I generate results. I want to go hard on this because I really want to test and get some good data sets for me to kind of conclude whether or not if this is going to be a good or bad thing, and I'm not going to know until like the next 3 to 6 months. That's kind of the length of how I like to test things out, rather than doing it for 2 weeks or a week or a month, 2 months. Usually it's not long enough. Okay, and then so here we have conversion event. I guess for this, it does give you like a script code that you can add onto the website. Now the framework, the conversion tag you can add on any website. It really depends on what framework you're using. If you're using Wix or a WordPress site or a custom React website, whatever that may be, I suggest you just do run a search on the internet. your framework, and then put add script tag or HTML tag, and then that way you can just kind of run through it depending on what system you have it on. For me, I personally use WordPress for all my stuff, but so this was going to be a very easy ad. I already have the Google Tag Manager added onto the website, so all I would need to do, okay, so I have already created it, but let me create a new one here, and we'll call this conversion 1, and I'll eventually change that later. And then from the data source, we already have it here, and then we'll hit create. Okay, but the thing is, I need to, where do I find, all right, so let me go back and do this real quick. Okay, let me just copy this and then close this off and then discard. Okay, where are the tools? Let's see here. Conversions, I would imagine. Okay, cool. All right, so here's the tag, and okay, it's already firing events because I already added onto the website, but let me view the code. So it will give you the snippet. All you have to do is just copy it, and then for sake of testing purposes, we'll just put it over here, create ChatGPT Ads, and then we'll do custom HTML. We'll just put it on all pages, save, submit, publish. Okay. And so now you have the tag on the website, which is great, right? So it's going to start collecting those data sets. As you can see here, it was collected over here, which is wonderful. So the tag is working. I will need to eventually create, I don't know exactly how this works. I need to dive into more of the actual data sets and stuff, but we have it there. So now let's go back. Let's create campaign. Let's call this the medical malpractice. Let's set here 400, and then we'll add event. We'll do event created, which was the first one, add group. Okay, so here's a maximum CPC bid. Now, I've obviously, $3.50 for a brand new platform, I mean, seems a little bit much for me. I could be extremely wrong. I know that if you go above anything above $3, it's going to say strong delivery. So normally these tools like Facebook, Google, and all these all these companies, they always try to kick it up more than what it actually is. You can kind of get away with having a lower bid. So I'm going to try to shoot first for 50 cents and then kind of go from there. So we'll call this ad group. We'll say medical malpractice. We'll just use the general. Okay. So here are context hints, and this is something that I was kind of researching to kind of see. I wanted to do comparison. I got, and I'll get into that in a second. I got all the keywords here that are like high converting keywords from my Google AdWords. I'm just gonna add that in there, and then I'm gonna put here, and I don't even know if this does it in Spanish, but that would be a great thing if you can kind of segment per language. Anyways, I'm gonna put here a comparison. What else? Best of, maybe keywords like that, right? Because a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll, when you're at the bottom of the funnel, and mind you, I'm optimizing for bottom of the funnel. They're gonna do comparisons. They're gonna do reviews. They're gonna do research. So let's see if this contextually does anything. So yeah, so that's the first thing, and then new ad. So we'll call this, this is, and then I have my headlines here. This is injured by a doctor called today. Okay, so we have this, and then we have medical malpractice lawyers, free consultation. No, hurt by a doctor, hospital, free, trusted, decades of, okay, I like this one better. What I'll do is I'll grab the copy from my Google AdWords, and I'll know which one worked more than others, and then kind of add that in there with it. Let me go here and find Percy's picture. We'll just use this one for now. Okay, create campaign. And then I do like that you can segment and add more groups. I will eventually probably do a later video kind of breaking all the different landing pages and which one we're working, which one we're not, and kind of go through this whole thing. So we'll start beginning, but that's pretty much all it takes. It's fairly simple, very straightforward. I'll keep updating this video and let you guys know how I'm progressing and how the campaign's progressing. So that way you guys have a good idea of how it's going to work for legal. So, but anyways, thank you for watching the video. I really appreciate you guys. And yeah, I'll see you another day.